Today, we're going to dive into one of the most powerful and maybe misunderstood systems shaping our world, the market. It's kind of like the silent engine behind our entire economy, figuring out what gets made, who gets what, and how. So let's pull back the curtain and really see how this thing works. I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. Billions of things, from the coffee you're drinking to the phone in your hand, get produced and delivered every single day. And the crazy part? There's no single person, no central commander calling all the shots. So how does this incredibly complex dance happen without a choreographer? Well, that's the fascinating puzzle we're going to solve today. And the hero of this story is, you guessed it, the market. Now, when we say market, don't just picture a fruit stand. It's not always a physical place. It's simply any situation, real or virtual, where a buyer and a seller can connect and make a deal. It's that interaction that's the magic ingredient. And these markets are literally everywhere. You find them in the supermarket aisle, in your Amazon shopping cart, in the middle of a bidding war on eBay, and of course, in the daily ups and downs of the global stock market. They really are the fabric of our economic lives. So, okay, if there's no central plan, how does this system coordinate everything? The secret is something incredibly powerful, but also totally invisible: the price signal. You can think of it as the market's own special language. Let's see how this works in the real world with electric cars. Okay, so step one, more and more people want electric cars. That rising demand pushes prices up. That higher price is like a giant flashing green light for car makers. It's a signal screaming, hey, there's money to be made over here. And what do? They respond by shifting resources, their workers, their factories, their materials, away from gasoline cars and toward electric ones. It all happens organically, just by everyone following that price signal. Okay, so this whole price mechanism allows the market to perform three absolutely crucial jobs for the economy. Let's break them down one by one. First up, the market allocates resources. So let's say housing prices in London are just going through the roof. That's a huge price signal, right? It's telling everyone that more housing is desperately needed right there. That signal attracts construction firms to pour their resources, their money, their labor, their materials, into building more homes exactly where they're valued the most. Second job, markets ration things that are scarce. Think about tickets for a massive concert. Everybody wants to go, but there are only so many seats. When demand goes way up, what happens? The price skyrockets. This process naturally rations the tickets to the fans who are willing and able to pay the most, making sure every seat is filled by someone who really wants to be there. And third, markets provide incredibly powerful incentives. The simple desire for profit pushes producers to constantly get better, to innovate, to cut costs, to create amazing new products. And for us, the consumers, it pushes us to hunt for the best value, making sure we get the most bang for our buck. And it's this constant dance, this push and pull between companies trying to be efficient and us trying to find the best deal that actually fuels almost all of our economic progress and innovation. But, and this is a really big but, the market isn't perfect, not by a long shot. It's a powerful tool for sure, but it has some major blind spots, places where the whole system just kind of breaks down. And this is what economists call market failure. So what is market failure? Well, it's basically what happens when everyone acting in their own self-interest ends up with a result that's actually worse for everybody as a whole. It's when the market's famous invisible hand fumbles the ball, and that's often where the government feels it needs to step in. A classic example here is pollution, which is known as a negative externality. Just look at this comparison. The price you pay for a product, it covers the cost of making it and selling it. But it leaves something huge out: the unpriced cost of the pollution created along the way. That's a cost that society as a whole has to bear, through environmental damage and health problems. In a way, the market price isn't telling us the whole truth. Then you have what are called public goods, things like clean air, public parks, or national defense. Think about it. How would a private company make a profit from these? You can't really stop someone from breathing clean air or using a park. So because there's no clear path to profit, private companies have very little incentive to provide them, which means the market, left on its own, would leave us with far too little of them. And finally, a massive challenge is inequality. Markets are very efficient, but they aren't designed to be fair. They can create huge gaps between the rich and the poor. For instance, soaring property prices are fantastic for people who already own property, but they can completely lock an entire generation of first-time buyers out of the market, making that wealth gap even wider. So, All this leads us to the central economic debate of our time, really. Finding the right balance between harnessing the incredible power of the free market and, well, stepping in to fix its biggest flaws. But let's be clear, despite its flaws, we rely on the market for very good reasons. This quote really gets to the heart of it. The smartphone in your pocket is a perfect example. That intense competition is what forces companies to constantly innovate, giving us better cameras, faster processors, and new features year after year. That's the market at its absolute best. And here's something you should never forget. In this system, you have an incredible amount of power. There's a concept called consumer sovereignty, and it means every single dollar you spend is like casting a vote. When you choose to buy from sustainable brands or support local businesses, you're sending a direct signal that shapes what companies will produce in the future. So let's bring it all together. The market is a system of amazing strengths. It's super efficient, it drives innovation, and it gives us incredible choice. But it also has some profound weaknesses. It can create deep inequality, it ignores huge costs like pollution, and it can fail to provide essential public goods that we all rely on. Ultimately, it's best to think of the market as just a tool. It's one of the most powerful tools we've ever invented, for sure. But it's not a perfect solution on its own. So the real question isn't whether markets are good or bad. The much better question is, how can we, as a society, best wield this incredible force to build the world that we truly want to live in? Thanks for joining this explainer.